Hello, Joseph, and
Hello.
hello. Welcome to this podcast. Well, it's actually not a podcast anymore, but it's a video podcast, and it's it's the first time I'm doing something like this. So thanks for accepting. And I think we had a lot of exchange and conversations over Twitter and LinkedIn, and after reading your book as well, one of the good things and the thing I like about you is that you do not have this standard vision of life and how we should be doing things and how we should create a human workplace or a better environment. So that's what I really like about you, and that's the reason also why I decided to contact you and to invite you to my podcast. And I really find it really exciting. So thanks a lot. You're based currently in Mexico, right?
Mexico City.
Yeah, perfect. And a little bit about your background and your story.
Oh, sure. Excuse me. So I went back and forth from a young age. When I was a child, I wanted to help make the world a better place, focusing on that. And then after I moved out of my home, I wanted to become rich. I wanted to become the first millionaire in my family. I was in Domino's Pizza. It was a growing company, and I was rocketing my way up, and I loved it. I felt like Domino's Pizza I had pizza sauce in my veins. And I loved, my job was to go to failing restaurants, Domino's Pizza stores, and turn them around. And I loved it. And so, then this idea of helping humanity came back. It's really just a strong calling. But who am I to help humanity? I'm just, who am I? I'm just me. But still, so I would go back and forth. How can I help? There's a lot of suffering in the world. How can I help? And then I would go back. I would get frustrated and go back to trying to make money. So what happened was I ended up just vagabonding around the country, just traveling around the country with a duffel bag on my back, and I would have many different jobs, mostly blue collar, mostly labor jobs, simple jobs, and throughout my life I've had a few white collar, like some high paying jobs, mostly low paying jobs. And one thing in common I realized, people are saying have the same exact complaints, almost verbatim, wherever you go. It's a lot of the time, it's not even really the customers that people complain about so much. It's each other. It's processes and procedures that conflict with each other. So basically, and there's one thing in the book: are we obstacles or allies to each other? So what's the job, and how can you just go in and do it and be a human being and do your work, instead of having to deal with a second job, which is dealing with BS or dealing with things that don't make sense. And almost everywhere I've worked in some places that really run smoothly and very nice place to work. But most places, your second job is dealing with impediments to actually doing your work.
So after all this experience, you decided to write a book, right, called Authentic Team Building for Restaurants and Anywhere. Why did you decide to write a book, and what is the mission of the book?
Well, at some point later in life, I was working in the healthcare field, and that was one of my higher paying jobs. And then, but I left after a year because there was some kind of a little bit of corruption there, and patient outcomes or client outcomes were diminished often, consistently, for profit motive. I'm all for profit. We need profit, but excessive profits would weigh more heavily than actual good client outcomes for the sick elderly people that I was trying to help. So I left, and instead of going back to being a truck driver with the 18-wheeler trucks, or a massage therapist, or one of the many things that I'd done, I went back. I just got an entry-level job in a restaurant, and I was an older person with more experience, and I went back, and everywhere I looked, it was just so obvious that if we did things a different way, it would be much better for everyone. It'd be better for the owner, it'd be better for the customers, much better for the people who work there. And so in order to kind of keep my sanity or as keep therapy for myself,
Hmm.
I just started writing on scraps of paper. Well, I would do things this way. And I had every day I would have a stack of scraps of paper of notes, and I thought, well,
Well, you can see where those notes ended up in something like this.
wow, I've never seen those. Like I said before, I've never seen that. I've never seen a book in printed physical form. What a joy to see that. Yeah, and I thought,
Yeah.
why not just
Okay.
write down all in one place, like how.
Oh, wonderful. Okay. So if you had to make like a short summary of the book, what would it be?
There's three modules, and the first module is one that's mostly applicable to any industry, to any business, and it's called the interview that cultivates clarity. The interview that cultivates clarity. So you're going to have, if you don't address things in the beginning, you're going to address things down the road, and that's the worst. That's not a good time because you've invested a lot of time and energy in things. You want to see the problems up front, so you want to be clear up front. And so that's basically it's the principles of the book, the principles of teamwork that are applicable to anywhere. And the other book is how when you're starting a restaurant or any business, how do you
Mhm.
begin it to where on day one you can be rolling pretty smoothly. You're going to still have kinks to work out, of course, but mostly you're going to be able to begin your restaurant or begin your business with a team that knows what an on point team. People know what they're doing, and you can get going. And the third module is if you have an existing restaurant or existing business, and let's say it's every business is dysfunctional. We're human beings, so some businesses are like 0.5% dysfunctional. They're beautiful businesses, and some businesses are kind of like maybe like 70% dysfunctional. It's a range. So how do you turn around? How do you transition less from a more dysfunctional workplace to a highly functional workplace?
Mhm. So you wrote the book having a restaurant business in mind, but as you just mentioned, it's applicable to any kind of industry or area. If you would highlight three of the tips in the book that we could apply to any business.
Sure, I'll say the first three, like the first core, the three core principles. But if I say that, I might give an idea of what the book, a limited idea of what it is. So before I say that, um, you can have the best ideas in the world. There's a line in the book. It's the living day-to-day reality that's important, not nice sounding words on paper collecting dust. So you can have the best plan, the greatest wisdom, but if you cannot implement it in a day by day basis and make it reality, it's really not any good at all. It's really quite useless. So that's a big part of the book. How do you take good ideas and implement them so the reality you're trying to create actually happens? Okay, so but three principles, and they're going to sound so obvious and so simple. But one is nothing in this book is rocket science, really. But one is physical politeness, uh, and sharing the space. Now that sounds pretty like what does that have to do with business? It has everything to do with being a human being and not being obstacles to each other. Physical politeness in a restaurant is very important because you have close quarters, you have sharp knives, hot liquids, speed, a limited window of time to get all the aspects together that come together in that delicious, perfectly cooked meal for your customers. So there's a small space, a lot of people, a lot of movement, and there's an element of danger in restaurants. So you want to practice physical politeness. You want to share the space. Uh, Everyone needs to go from point A to point B. Everyone needs to operate. So we want to cooperate. You can operate fully, I can operate fully, and we can do that together. So physical politeness is very important in a restaurant, but also less important in an office space, but still important because this one thing, if you're respected, like physically as a human being, when you can go to and fro, then that helps inform the entire culture of the organization of respect in all aspects. And when you have respect in all aspects, it's a powerful engine because people like being there, and creativity and collaboration, it can go to a much higher level when you have respect. So physical politeness is one of them. Also, the second one is clear and concise communication. It's more compassionate and polite to be in a busy environment. It's more compassionate and polite to be clear and concise. If you have time to talk and to socialize and spread things out longer, that's great. We're all human beings, but when we're busy, we need the information that we need, and so we can keep on flowing in whatever that work we're doing. So, like maybe think before you speak. Look, listen, and think before you tell someone you should. Can you do this or get this done? Maybe it's already being done. There's all sorts of circumstances, but look, listen, and think. Know the situation. You become more relevant in your workplace. The more you are on point when you speak. If you're not on point when you speak, over time, people tend to filter you out of their. When you speak, people tend to filter you out of their of your attention because Joseph is just Joseph is saying something. But if like but Alex is talking, people just know like whenever Alex says something, he's on point. So clear and concise communication when you're talking about something work related. Socializing at work is a whole different story. The third thing is everything in its place. In the restaurant business, it's called a French word called mise en place, which means everything in its place. So there's two types of mise en place. One is when you're preparing something, you want all your equipment and food in one place so you can just get to it. But also organization-wide mise en place. I can tell a quick little example of a non-restaurant work environment. I worked in a nursing home rehabilitation center helping the elderly. And so it's a very high pressure situation. We're seeing sometimes 20 people a day, maybe only for 15 minutes. You have to look at the medical records so there's no contraindication, so you don't do something that hurts them. And you have to see a lot of people, and there's a lot of things going on. Well, one of our clients, he was in a wheelchair, and his leg braces were not the right size, and it was causing him great discomfort. Or it was causing him discomfort that wasn't healthy for him. So I needed to change the leg braces. So I go to the storage closet, and it's just a pile of leg braces, and half of them are broken. I had to look around. How can I find two of the same size? I did. Oh, but this one's broken. So I decided, okay, I'm just going to go back and treat the clients, and then at the end of the day, I'm going to organize the closet. So that's a perfect example, whether you're in a restaurant or a hospital or an office. If everything is where you need it, when you need it, it's just like driving a car. You never have to say, oh, where did I put the brake? Because I need a brake. No, the steering wheel, brake, everything is right there where you need it, when you need it, so you can focus on what you're doing and where you're going when you're driving. So when you're at work, you want to be able to focus on what am I doing? And you don't want to have to be distracted because you don't have what you need when you need it.
Yeah. Okay, so it would be then be polite. That's number one. Stick to the point and be concise. That would be number two, right? And then the last one would be organized. Could we say it? Yeah, mise en place. Be organized. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Nice. Okay. So according to you, what is the main challenge we see in companies and in the society in general today?
Well, I've read that 85% of people actively dislike their jobs. I mean, not just like, oh, this job is meh, but actively dislike their jobs. And a few lucky people love their work, and it's a mix. You know, there's good and bad and everything. So I think the main thing is in workplaces, which I discovered working in a lot of different areas, is a lot of people don't really feel like a human being at work, and
okay,
and it's death by 1,000 cuts. like all these little things that bother you that eventually after 5 years in a job, you wake up Monday morning with a pit in your stomach saying, oh God, but you just kind of have to go because you have to support your family and make a
And
living. So,
yeah, talking about
yep.
feeling miserable and feeling a little bit, small when you work, especially for a bigger organization. From an organizational point of view, what could we do to actually build a more human workplace, and how could we ensure that we are on the right path? We are really creating value for our people internally. What would be your advice and the first step, and how could we ensure that we actually do the right things?
Well, the first step, I would say, if the owner of the company, the management, the owner needs to be, well, it's best if they, if you want someone to do something for you, you need to let them know what it is. You need to be clear. And so if you're the owner, be very clear. You know, what do you want? Uh, you have to be clear within yourself. Now, some things are very clear, like, yes, this is what I want to do, what I want us to do, and this is a very specific way. But some instances, like for example, like, okay, um, the TPS reports need to be filled out. This. Good, got it. There's no ifs. If that's from a movie, but Office Space. But okay, it's very clear. There's no ifs, ands, or buts. This is how it has to go. It's clear. And or you're baking bread. This is the recipe. But maybe some things aren't so clear. Like we want you to raise sales 2% a month, for example. And you can do within certain parameters. You can do anything you want. So, or maybe there's another aspect of the business. We don't really know what we're doing. We're in a cutting edge field and everything's changing. We really don't know. But be clear. So the things that you're not clear about
Mhm.
as an owner, just say it. Be honest. Look, this part of it, we're not so clear. But there's lots of things, many things in any organization that can and should be very clear. And so as the owner, you have to take a look at yourself and say, what do I really want? What do I truly want to take place within the four walls of this organization? That's the first step because you need to be able to communicate this to your people. When people have clarity, that is like the one of the number one things. A quick little anecdote. Years ago, I was managing a Domino's pizza, and then the owner was going to sell it. So the new owner came. The old owner was very idealistic. We read Seven Habits of Highly Effective People in Search of Excellence. He's very high-minded, and it was a wonderful experience. The owner buying it, he called a meeting and he said, "Look, I want to make money. You help me make money. I help you make money."
Oh.
The perfect. The you could just see everyone, the feel in the room just changed, and people nodded their head like, "I understand that. I want to make money. You want me to help you make money." There was
Mhm.
no high ideals, or I think high ideals are fine if you really mean them. But the thing is, it was very clear to people, and that just aligned everybody, crystal clear, and that was brilliance of this person, I thought.
Wow. Wow. Okay.
So
Wow.
being very clear about what you want will help us not waste a tremendous amount of it. It saves a tremendous amount of energy, mental
Mhm.
energy, emotional, physical energy. We're clear, just like the road teams, like I don't know, like Ivy League schools have those crew teams, the long boats, and everyone's
Yeah.
row, and everyone's very clear, and that boat can just sail, cut through the water like this beautifully because everyone's on the same page. Everyone's very clear, and it's good for you as a human being to have clarity in your workplace.
But when you would like to evolve the model and you would like to, raise the bar a little bit in the team, and you would still, you would like to have a human team, a human workplace, but you would like to, increase the pressure a little bit. What would you do in that case?
Well, this maybe a connect to that is, so let's say, so you want a high performance, ideally we want a high performance productive quality
Yeah.
company.
Right.
And so it's not the thing about the, like, you just don't want to pay people a lot of money. Here, I want to be generous, here's money, because money doesn't do anything. work does. The money is a great useful tool, but it doesn't create anything. So if you're just throwing money at people, that to be generous, that's fine, that's nice, but you need for a company to work, everyone needs to be productive and actually do something. So, there's a thought like, well, we want a humane workplace, so don't work too hard. And no, we want people to work and be productive. If you're efficient and if we're not opposite, if we're allies and not obstacles to each other, we can be very productive and with less stress for ourselves as human beings. So you definitely want to bump up the quality and productivity. I lost my train of thought. So, so one of the things is you have an expectation. The interview that cultivates clarity. You're clear to people. This is what we do, and this is how we do it, and this is the expectation of you and everyone here. So what you want to do in order for people to be able to be productive, you take away any obstacles that prevents them from doing their job well. I'm not sure if I answered the question.
Yeah, no, yeah. Perfect. Okay.
Because I'm sorry, people want to, in my experience, in my personal experience, and my experience with working with people want to be good at what they do. People want to excel and feel good. Like, I did something today. It's a horrible situation when you find yourself in a situation where I just need to get through the day and not be seen, and just that
all
doesn't
about
feel good.
feeling useful at some point. Yeah.
People want to feel useful and feel good at what they do, and working with other people really is a joy when you can work well together, and it feels good. So wanting people to be to work at a high level and being productive, is some people see that as a negative thing, like you're exploiting people. People want to do well and work in everyone wants to be part of a winning team. Now, if you back it up with paying people fairly. I'm not throw money at people. People need to earn the money, otherwise it doesn't work. But like there's a saying, there's a idea out there. We want our employees to feel valued, and I hate that term because you could ask people, hey, in a company, do you feel valued? They say, well, the owner's spouse bakes us cookies every Friday, so I feel valued. But in a company where everyone is valued, you can ask them, do you feel valued? And they could just maybe look at you and saying, we are valued. Are you kidding me? This is a great place to work. Everyone's respected. We're paid fairly. Oh, there's no doubt. We don't feel valued. We are valued. So there's a big difference. One is exploitative and manipulative, with hate, and one is just real. The people who work for your company, the company takes care of them, and they take care of the company because their interests are aligned. So you don't have to watch over everybody. People by themselves, when no one's looking, are taking care of the company.
Okay, and so you already have some experience, and if you had the same experience but 20 years ago, what would be the advice you would tell yourself?
Well, I'm not sure this directly but answers it, but when I left Domino's Pizza, I was on track to becoming my family's first millionaire. I loved what I was doing. I was good at it. The company was growing. And then I've made a series of just, I don't know, I think dumb decisions in my life, or just I tend to act impulsively. So if I look back, instead of just saying, oh, I want to help inner city children be successful and go be a school teacher or go help humanity, what I would have done is I would have become a millionaire through Domino's Pizza, and then I would have used all that money to do good projects. So having capital is a fantastic thing. So if I could have changed one thing, I would have gone ahead and gotten rich, and then try to help other people. I'm not sure that's actually the question you were asking.
Yeah, no, it's a good tip. So yeah, okay, perfect. And talking about tips, three, four tips you would give to any business owner trying to be a millionaire or trying to, make the business grow, but is still not making it? What kind of advice or what kind of tips would you give to that business owner?
If you have a cohesive team, that is invaluable, because otherwise you're going to be playing. There's a game called whack-a-mole at carnivals. It's where you go to a carnival and then these moles pop up and the game is
Yeah.
and everyone.
Yeah, you hit them
And
right with the
so
hammer.
if you don't have a cohesive team that really that not only feels valued but is valued, if you have a cohesive team where people are on, every single person from support staff to the talent to management to janitorial, if you have, when every person is on point and you have a cohesive team, and it's a good place to be as a human being while you're actually being productive and getting things done, that's the foundation for everything else. You're going to save money. There's going to be much less turnover, so time and money to train new people. It's going to be more creativity. There's going to be less theft in restaurants. People steal food in companies. People take money, I guess. I don't know. There's going to be less theft, less waste, more creativity. If you have a cohesive team who's on point and it's clear about what needs to be done, that's the foundation, in my opinion. Everything else, the other aspects about marketing, about about running a business, I can't really speak strongly on that. There's so many things that I don't know about. But as far as my focus is the foundation of a true team. So if you have a cohesive team, it's going to be so much easier and so much more productive to address all of these other issues that you have in running a business.
So your advice would then be to start with your team and create a strong team. And
that is the foundation. Yeah.
Wonderful.
In my opinion.
So, and what about you? What's next for you? So currently you live in Mexico, and what's the next step for you in your business?
Well, my wife is from Mexico City, and we fled the United States because my wife, we were living in the Virginia, and so the racism started becoming more emboldened because people felt now they have social permission to be aggressive towards other people, and my wife noticed this, and she says, "No way!" This is just before Trump was elected, and she said, "I'm going." She says, "No." Regresa a Mexico City ahora. I'm going back home, and my life is where my wife is, and so I came to Mexico, and I love Mexico. It's culturally, it feels more right. There's a humanness, there's a kind of a realness in Mexico. I don't know how to really describe it, but there's a warmth. I really love Mexico. I'm glad I'm here. The thing is, though, we didn't have any money when he came, and it's very hard for me to make money. So my goal what to do right now is figure out how I can make a living in Mexico. And hopefully these two books that I wrote another book about relationships.
You did? Oh.
Yeah, I don't know why I didn't mention it before, like in our talkings, but it's the Little Blue Book for guys. It's like a 40-page thing about sex, love, and relationships, and about a frank, direct, honest book about basically the heart of that is if you have character, if you have a character, if you respect yourself, if you respect yourself and you respect the other person, whether your sex is going to be fantastic, you're going to actually know what love is as opposed to romance and attachment. You know what love is, and you're going to have healthier, better relationships. So it's a little book for young people. But anyway, so my goal is to hopefully make some money with these books, and Denise and I are working on other projects. So to make money in businesses online. And then once we get some capital, which I should have gotten 40 years ago at Domino's Pizza, to get some capital, and then we can do our big projects, which is to have a permaculture farm that's sustainable, to have build an eco house, and also to open my community cafe, where it's more of a social club for regular people. Wealthy people, God bless, they have social clubs and they network and they have fun in their social club, which is good. I hope to be invited to some of these social clubs, but a social club for the neighborhood, like we had like hundreds of years ago, like in a German beer garden, where the whole families would come and sing and dance and eat and socialize, and it helps weave the fabric of community. So that's our goal: to make money with businesses online, to have our homestead, our ecologically sound homestead, and also eventually to open up a community-minded cafe to help build community.
Wonderful. And you do some consulting as well around how to create a more human workplace, if I'm not wrong. Yeah.
I offer consulting. I mean, years ago, before I wrote the book, a friend of my brother's who owned a restaurant asked me for some advice, and I believe they wanted to have a delivery service out of their restaurant, and I told them everything they needed to address and how it's going to affect their in-dining service, and they looked at that and they said, that's not going to really be practical for us to have a delivery service. So I think I saved them a lot of, I didn't get paid for it, but I think I saved them a lot of trouble. And also years later, a friend of mine opened up a pop-up restaurant for a summer, and I helped design the operations, and it was a huge success. And so those two things. So I offer consulting, but no one has taken me up on it yet.
Okay. Great. So so you're quite active on Twitter. We both know that. Recently, you have joined.
You're my best friend on Twitter.
Yeah, I know. And you've recently.
You're really nice. You're a great guy. I sometimes I tweet, get to know Alex. He's a good guy to know.
Thank you.
Yeah.
And you have recently joined LinkedIn as well. I think that LinkedIn is a great and powerful network. So I think it really is, yeah. Your Twitter user was again at Teamwork Books, was it?
What is my Teamwork at Teamwork? Funny cake. Do you know my Twitter? Teamwork Books.
Okay.
I think it's Teamwork Books. I should have been prepared.
No, I will leave it in the comments in the post anyway. So perfect. So people, I guess they can connect with you directly over Twitter, or do you prefer email, or do you have a web page as well? You had a web page in the past, didn't you?
Yep, we just finalizing the web page last night, and actually this morning for the two books. The website is I guess the website is In Good Company. I believe it's In Good Company Bookhouse. .com. In Good Company Bookhouse.com, and I have an email. Our email is authenticteambuilding@gmail.com.
Okay, wonderful. So people then can reach out to you over there. Yeah, perfect. So
pardon me. Every one of your listeners can have module 1 gratis for free. Just email me and I'll send you the link.
Wonderful. Yep. Great, perfect. Well, I have all of them, so I truly recommend them to anyone. So yeah, great stuff, and thanks for this conversation, Joseph. And as I said, it's a new experience for me doing this virtually. Normally, I'm doing this face to face, but let's see how it goes.
I hope it goes well. I love what you do. Your abilities to facilitate and project management. I don't even know everything that you do, but it's really good to know you. And hopefully, when we make some money and we can travel, Denise and I would like to take you out to a nice dinner in Barcelona.
Okay, I'm in. Okay, perfect. Thanks a lot, Joseph, and talk to you soon then.
Thank you, Alex.
Yeah, thanks to you. Bye. Bye-bye.